To solve this question, we're asked what is the value of x for this equation? So we're essentially looking for what value of x, what number, if we plug it into here, is going to satisfy and make the left-hand side equal to the right-hand side. So there's a couple options that we can use. One option is we can look at our answer choices and go ahead and, since they're numeric values, these represent the possible values for x, we can plug right in for x and see which of these numbers actually satisfies this equation. So that's one way. In the written explanation, we can actually solve this equation directly for x using exponent rules in algebra. So either method will work for us. Since in the written explanation we solve this equation algebraically, let's go ahead and use the other method for the video. Let's go ahead and start with answer choice A, and we'll plug in when x is 1. So plugging in when x is 1 on the left or on the right hand side, we'll have a 3 to the 1 minus 3 to the 1 minus 2, which gives us negative 1. And let's go ahead and simplify this. So 3 minus 3 to the negative 1 we can rewrite as 1/3. And combining these guys, we have a 2 to the 2/3. Now comparing this to 8 times 3 to the 7th, 2 and 2/3 is going to be much less than 8 times 3 to the 7th. Even just looking at 8 is much bigger than 2 and 2/3 alone. So if we multiply it by 3 to the 7th, it's definitely going to be a lot larger. So we can go ahead and actually rule this answer choice out. And let's move on to the next one. In a similar fashion, let's go ahead and if x is 3, let's go ahead and plug it into the right-hand side of our equation. So 3 to the 3 minus 3 to the 3 minus 2, which gives us 1. These are nice integer values, so we can go ahead and simplify. We'll have a 27 minus 3, which gives us 24. Now comparing this to 8 times 3 to the 7th, 24 is going to be much less than 8 times 3 to the 7th, because if we think about 24 is just 8 times 3 to the 1, so if we have 3 to the 7th, this number is going to end up being a lot larger. So they're actually not equal, so we can also rule answer choice B out. Let's go ahead and try the next answer choice. Our next answer choice is if x is equal to 7. So plugging in when x is 7, we have a 3 to the 7th minus 3 to the 5th. And instead of multiplying these guys out, they're going to be large numbers, so that's kind of a waste of time for us to do on the test. We can use a little bit of algebra here. These two terms have 3 to the 5th in common, so we can go ahead and actually factor that out of both of these terms. That leaves us with a 3 squared from the first term minus 1 if we factor out that 3 to the 5th. We can simplify inside of those parentheses. It gives us a 9 minus 1, so 8. And we're trying to see if this is going to equal 8 times 3 to the 7th. Now since we both have 8s in both of these numbers, we can kind of rule those out for a second and just focus on the 3 to the 5th and the 3 to the 7th. 3 to the 5th is going to be less than 3 to the 7th, so they're actually not going to be equal, those entire numbers. So we can rule out answer choice C as well. Moving along. Our next answer choice to try is if x is equal to 9, so we can go ahead and plug that right in. So 3 to the 9th minus 3 to the 7th will equal. We're going to do a similar thing and go ahead and factor out the smallest factor, which would be 3 to the 7th, and we're left with 3 squared minus 1. Simplifying this, we'll have a 3 to the 7th times 8. And this is actually the exact same thing as what we were looking for, the right hand or the left hand side of our equation. So 8 times 3 to the 7th. We just switch those around since it's multiplication. So since we found the x that actually works for us, that would be our answer choice. So answer choice D.